Yo, Tripolar Bear. We're going to talk about very quickly Kirac's Explorer Scouting Report rerolls and some findings that I had along the way rolling these and taking note of what exactly was showing up. So if you don't know, there is an item for Kirac missions that will re-roll all the maps, right? So imagine when you used to find Zana, imagine a currency item that would let you re-roll all the maps in the Zana, right? And so you have all of these here. You can kind of see like the gist of it, right? There's a harvest here. There's all this stuff. And then you can use one of these and it'll re-roll them. Now, I did this testing with an Explorer's Scouting Report. This is one of the most basic ones. They're about 1 chaos each right now. There's Vol Scouting Reports. There's Scouting Reports that gives influenced maps, so you find more Shaper Guardians, Elder Guardians, Conquerors, which are the Elder Slayers, right? So that's Baron and Al-Hazim in them. There's Singular, which is going to be unique maps, so you get at least one guaranteed unique map. That is pretty snazzy as well. But this testing I did was with Explorer Scouting Reports, the most basic of all Scouting Reports. And what I found was that it's actually very, very, very common, relatively to other League mechanics, to get Harvest. And so I did 200 rerolls of Kirac missions. I kind of took note of the more important of them. Obviously there's lots of things like Delirium Mirrors that you're getting. There's like Beyond missions. Sometimes there's drop a whole stack of divs. All right, get a Reddit post, get a GFL clip out of those. But I just, pick and chose what I thought was going to be the best. So I chose Harvest, right? So in 200 reports, we found 59 Harvests, right? About a 2 and 3, which is pretty, or a 1 and 3, which is pretty good, right? So these scouting reports are about 1C each. And so about every 3 scouting reports, you get another Harvest. So this could be something really, really valuable for people looking to juice a little bit of extra Harvest out of Kirac missions and whatnot if you don't have anything more valuable to use on your Kirac missions, or maybe you're not comfortable doing random, potentially very rippy Conqueror maps and things like that. This can be a really nice way to get a lot of extra Harvest missions, especially so since on the Atlas, this league, the Harvest stuff isn't like super boosted, right? You have a lot of things that give additional crafting outcomes. You've got like an extra little plot there. So you get like 1 extra go at some crafts, but you don't have all of those like mature watchstones and all that stuff like we used to have on watchstones. So it's not even like these harvests are going to be like drastically worse than what you would find in a normal typical map, or even buying the sextants, which are pretty expensive right now. I had actually just sold one for an Exalt for 4 uses, right? And you can see an Exalt for 4 uses is fairly expensive, right? It's 25, 30 chaos. This is like 3C. It's about 3 chaos. The only problem is you need to have Kirac missions. Now, Kirac missions, you could potentially farm them very quickly alongside other Elk and Ghost strategies. So I know Firegrass has this Elk and Ghost strategy, and I've seen a few other people doing it too, where you focus on Eater of World Altars and you just find like scarabs and stuff. So you could take some like extra Kirac passives. You could be farming up some Kirac missions there, and then you get to dump them all into some nice harvests, right? Like I've gathered about 10 Kirac missions. It's really not anything, just doing Delirium, but that's another 10 harvest plots, and that could be a lot of valuable either Delirium orb swaps. It could be some crafts, anything like that. Deli orb swapping right now would be like really sick, right? You start with a bad one, get some skittering or cartographers, something like that, resist swaps, it could be anything. I found 22 expeditions. Now the expeditions are going to be a little weak without Atlas passives and whatnot. I completely get that. But that's not too bad, With one thing with the expedition missions, I didn't track these in the first 100. But then I was watching Quantric doing some expedition, and I realized that expedition is actually a really good mechanic when you have a really bad build. Because, he was doing all this expedition and he was still making a lot of money, even though he was playing some really wonky stuff. And so this is actually like it could be a really valuable mechanic, right? Even though it's not super, super common, 10C for an expedition, it's whatever, maybe you take them alongside, if you're not into harvest. This one's actually not that good. It's like 10%. Never mind. You just buy harvest or an expedition scarab with that map. at that point. 16 blight maps, right? I only chose the blighted maps, not a blight pump in the map. These are really cheap right now anyways, and half the time the things won't open. So, you know, it is what it is until they fix it. We did find 14 Conquerors. That's not bad, right? And 200 reports, we got 14 Conqueror maps. These maps normally go for 30, 40 chaos. So that is, you know, that is pretty good right there. And you can sell the fragments. You can get any other influence gear and whatnot. We got 11 Elder, 7 Shaper. I found 2 Synthesis maps, but those were right at the end, so it's kind of just lucky. And then I found a Monster's Treasure. I thought that was just cute. Anyways, this doesn't have to be too long of a video. I just think this is a really nice way to get a bunch of harvest missions if you have some extra, or a harvest if you have some extra Kirac missions, right? I think this can be a really cheap way for players to get low entry harvests, aside from just hoping you get one or buying that really expensive sextant, right? Like, you know, 20 something to 30 something chaos for a sextant, you know, for each use of the harvest. You know, way better to just buy 3 reports. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the live stream. Peace out, homies. And subscribe.